Holy intuition.
There was someone, she thought that I had shown up.
I even had a conversation with him, like, hey, how are you?
Mistakes. I'm not saying that, that everything
And I told her it was my evil twin,
But I'm just saying
Alfonso.
they happen to not go along.
Alfonso has all the bad qualities that I don't have.
It wasn't like a belief.
Next year he's going to. Now, he's at Kentucky. That's one of the premier, sport franchises in college athletics.
I find that more.
So next year he'll have 4 top prospects, And it goes contrary to a smaller school that keeps guys together for 4 years. And they're there primarily to get an education because they're not at the level to go into the pros. Like Butler, these guys have been together for 4 years. Those guys, at the skill level, they're not going to make it into the pros. So. And then you got like Duke. Duke is a character program, no scandals, no guys who can't read. He keeps them together for 4 years. So you got, the diversity of programs.
There's just no competition between those two. If Christ was God, then he couldn't have really died on the cross because he's God.
He didn't die.
So if he didn't die, then he didn't rise from the dead. And therefore, he didn't die for our sins. It would be more accurate to say he took a 3-day nap for our sins.
I said the exact same thing, word for word, to Peggy about a week ago or something, because she comes from that background years ago. And I said, simply put, with Catholicism, if it feels good, it's a sin.
There are tons of
Comparing
laws to everything else.
the guilt in other religions to the guilt in Catholicism, and I said, in other religions you have to feel guilty when you do something that's bad. In Catholicism, you have to feel guilty if you do something that feels good.
Yeah.
Comedian George Carlin did a whole thing on Catholicism where he said, for one sin, they've got you 6 times before you even commit it. If you think about doing it, if you prepare yourself to do it, like you're going out on a date with a woman and you want to get lucky. Now, if you shower, you wash your hair, you comb it, you shave and put on cologne, that's in preparation of the act. That's a sin. Then he goes on and on. So he says, so you see, they got you 6 times before you even commit it.
It's true. Well, it's a perversion of the idea that Jesus said, talking about that he talked about our sins are already complete before they're done because they're conceived in our minds. Which actually should, it's a concept that should take a little bit of the pressure off us.
Thank you.
Rather than put more on us.
That's not what the Catholic religion is about.
It shouldn't be necessarily
If I start
connected to
getting
like
fan mail, it's all your
literalist
fault.
biblical understanding.
Yeah, but that's who brings it up the most.
Right. It's just like kind of annoying. It's like, okay, stop it.
What?
But that's because it's so much easier to be told what sin is when you can just read it in a book. That's why people like the Bible, because they don't have to think about it. They just do what it says, as opposed to actually having to deal with like, what is my intuition telling me is like the right choice in this particular moment, which is more of like a constant ongoing.
But then people would be empowered. And that's-
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, the Bible, you just read it and do it, it's just exercise. But to really cope with the complexities and uncertainties of life and spirituality, you have to sort of be athletic. Your mind and has to be like able to sort of leap. You get to comment. This is like a French noir film. The director has to say, oh, but da 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 da, right? How do you feel? Godard did it a lot. You have to like get into this. So did Truffaut.
Basically, if you look at the Episcopalians, the substance of the dogma and everything is Catholicism.
Raised very Irish Catholic.
Lutheranism, they've stripped away the authority of the Pope and a lot of the declarations, but it's basically Catholicism.
I know a lot of Irish Catholic people.
Is there any good version of Christianity?
It's about like tradition and moral compass. it's not-
Joan Baez,
They went back
a lot of her
at
ideals
the same
came
time
from
my father
Quakerism
started
from her
teaching
mother.
kids
Who?
Catholic
Joan Baez?
classes.
Joan Baez.
Oh, I didn't know.
They
Nixon
have
was
Like,
meeting
well, we're not
rooms
really
or
into
whatever. It's a
either.
totally
They do,
different,
like, one foot out, one foot in.
totally different
And they
thing.
had all the guilt and baggage of Catholicism.
You can't lump
Even though
every
they
single religion
said,
together
we don't-
because there's big differences.
High school, like, high school
And the
Catholic.
Baptists,
I went to youth
the Southern Baptists, that's an offshoot of
So there's a
Calvinism.
lot of social
Very strict.
bonding
It's
there, and I guess
100% total black, 100% total white.
for him more than me.
If you have one drink of whiskey, you're doomed to eternal hellfire.
Irish.
If you look at
But
one
they were
woman,
from California originally.
you know,
father was.
lasciviously,
Jimmy Swaggart.
Jimmy Swaggart,
He described his neighbor
Clinton,
as Irish Jewish.
it's, no, and
Again, I was
some extenuating circumstances.
Status changing over the course of the
And like I said, the bad thing about that way of thinking is if you fail once, you're going to say,
What the
hell?
Right.
I mean, you're at the supermarket and there's a buxom blonde picking up a sack of potatoes and you're looking at her butt.
Right.
You're doomed to hellfire.
All right.
Not that you would act upon it.
So yeah, so. But my
Well, you don't
mother
need
was
to. The sin is already conceived in your mind and therefore
Bingo.
already
And I
executed.
don't think of any Irish Catholic thing.
Yeah, you just pick the most brilliant things that were said in the 8 hours that you were filming, and take the most interesting 2 minutes of the 8 hours of film that you got. Yeah, not that hard. It's just tedious.
Are we gonna be able to fill
But
it?
thoughts are just tools. We developed thought to like help us survive. You know, if we're having thoughts that go against helping us survive, we should chuck them because they're useless.
No, I think we develop thoughts because it's really cool to think. And it's sort of like music, and we just...
Don't you believe in the evolutionary process, Ben? It's all about survival. It's all about what helps us
Well, I know
live
where
another day.
next is better.
That's why art has to be part of the evolutionary process. It's not
It's just a
designed.
bunch of chemical responses in our head that for some reason made us better at making fires
Well,
in
your
the middle of the cold
definition of
winter.
beauty is just a response.
Unity, because a lot of that stuff predates Roman Catholicism. It's something that the church just held. But with the onset of the Protestant Reformation and all that stuff, a whole lot of stuff was just thrown out that should have been kept in. So now,
In other words,
I think you understand that I'm not talking about bad evil.
if we listen to Chaucer, would we know what they felt about words? I don't think we would.
Peggy, I need a big cup, a big pot of Yama.
This shows you that nobody knows
This
what's
is what I'm
going on.
saying.
All the geniuses, all the
lesbians had-
experts are all wrong.
They all had to go
So-
ready for